decade ago, H&K released the VP9, but it wasn't until a year ago that I picked one up for myself. I was amongst the VP9 haters because I preferred the classic hammer-fired guns like the USP and the P30 series. Because the VP9 already shared the same magazines as the P30, and I had a bunch of those magazines, once H&K started offering rebates on these, I finally decided to cave in and give one a try. I was mad at myself the first time I saw a VP9 because straight out of the box, I could already shoot it better than my more expensive H&K handguns, including my P30, which had trigger work done on it. H&K is not new to striker-fired handguns though. Actually, in 1970, H&K designed the very first polymer frame striker-fired handgun, which was called the VP70. People said that the VP70 had the trigger of a staple gun, and fortunately that is not the case here with the VP9, which arguably has the best striker-fired trigger on the market today compared to maybe the Walther PDP or a CZ-P10 come very close in feel. The VP9 is still more of a duty trigger compared to a competition trigger, but it is very smooth, it's very predictable. We are clear. And here I have a P30L, which as you can tell looks extremely similar to the VP9. The VP9 project initially was called the P30X. As you can tell, the biggest difference is we went from a hammer-fired gun to a striker-fired handgun. So this curve here is a little bit different. The VP9, you can get your hand up a little bit higher. The grip texture is also a little bit different. This is more of an aggressive sandpaper-like grip, and the VP9 is just a little bit slicker. The paddle mag release is exactly the same. The 15 round and 17 round magazines from the P30 series also fit the VP9 series. And for the subcompact versions, even the extended 13, 15, as well as the flush fit 10 round magazines will all be interchangeable between the P30 SK and the VP9 SK. They share the same sights, so there is a little bit of parts commonality there, but internally they are still very different because again, hammer-fired system versus a striker-fired system. We are clear. I'll decock it. This will be double action. And single action. This does have a Gray Guns short reset kit in it, so that reset is quite a bit shorter than the factory P30. I still prefer having that heavy double action first pull on a hammer fired gun compared to a striker fired gun, which I know that this gun has a lot of internal safeties. It's just something that I mentally have to get over due to the lower manufacturing costs of a striker fired gun, and a lot of people really just preferring the same trigger pull every single time and not having to worry about having a heavy double action, a lighter single action, and train to those. They're just massively popular, and it's becoming more and more rare to see manufacturers design a new hammer-fired gun in today's market. A lot of the hammer-fired guns that you see today are guns that are older designs that are just still in production. So you have things like the HK USP, you have the CZ Shadow, the Beretta M9, the SIG P226. Those are all old designs that are just still being manufactured. 1911s, 2011s. I think there's something to be said about a gun like this VP9 that just shoots great out of the box. It fits my hand really well. My P30 I struggled with a bit, learning that longer trigger reset, and then I modified it, and then had to retrain to a shorter reset. The USP I find has a nicer trigger, but due to the size of that gun and the size of my hand and the amount of recoil that my 45 has, it took a lot more training to get proficient with that gun. Especially if you get a version with night sights on it, there's really nothing that you need to upgrade. I did upgrade mine to Trijicon HDs, and I have a little mag well added here. Lazy Wolf Guns had machined the bottom of this trigger guard to be smooth. There's a little bit of a groove in there from the factory that can sometimes pinch your index finger. Another cool thing about the VP9 that is unlike the P30 series is you can remove the upper slide and barrel, pick up a long barrel, and that quickly you have gone from a standard VP9 to a VP9L. And from the factory, these do come with a very nice fiber optic sight. I don't think that I would carry this gun like this because these lightning cuts do expose the barrel and the recoil spring internals to getting some dirt and debris in there. But as a range toy, this is a very cool option to have. There's also a match version of the VP9 that has an even longer slide than that VP9L, and there is a tactical version which is the standard size, but it does have a threaded barrel so you can run a suppressor on there. Of course, you can buy that barrel and interchange it with this one too, so then you just have two barrel options. And this model does have the traditional European paddle magazine release, which I personally really like. Some people don't like it, but if you're one of those people, look for the VP9-B, and that model does have a more traditional thumb magazine release. So that's an option as well. And when you're looking whether it's new or used, be aware that there are slides that are optics ready and non-optics ready. I personally don't put an optic on this gun, so mine do not have that optics cut, but some of them do. So just be aware if you really want to put an RMR or something on this, that you're buying a VP9 OR. Reliability, of course, has been great. I usually don't have any issues with HKs, and again, this one has given me zero malfunctions in the time that I've had it and all the rounds that I've shot it. I don't know exactly how many rounds I put through this, but it's definitely between the 500, 1,000 round range with a combination of FMJ and of hollow points. I'm not saying the VP9 by any means is perfect or that I'm a huge striker-fired fan now. I still do really love my hammer-fired handguns, but I do also own a CC9 now, which is also striker-fired. I think that it would be a stupid gun to not have in the collection since I already have magazines for it, and with the rebates and stuff out there, if you're looking for a beater gun, you should really consider picking one of these up. If you can get it for about the same price as a Glock, I think you would be pretty stupid to not pick this over something like a Glock. It's just so much more ergonomic. The trigger is so much better. You're getting nice German steel magazines compared to the cheaper plastic polymer magazines that Glock uses. Not that there's anything wrong with Glock. They are still reliable, they still function great, but I think you'd just be a little bit happier shooting something like this. But regardless of the use, I really don't think that you can go wrong. So I would highly consider picking one of these up in your gun shop, and I think you'll immediately be able to tell what I mean when I say that this is just a very ergonomic and natural feeling handgun, and I think that you'll be very happy if you do pick one up.